Today's program dwells into the soul of Japan's ramen. We are going to visit my friend Tommy in Nagoya, who opened a ramen restaurant 2 years ago. Nagoya is about 400 kilometers from Tokyo, and to get there, we are taking the iconic Shinkansen, the bullet train. The Shinkansen is one amazing experience, and even as a kid, it was always exciting to travel on it. We passed Mount Fuji on the right side of the train. Mount Fuji is so revered that if the weather is good, the bullet train slows down a tad to allow passengers to photograph the snow-capped, symmetrically sloped national icon of Japan, Fujisan. I'm seeing Tommy after 2 years at his restaurant. Tommy and I are the same age, but when you put us together, he looks older, and this doesn't happen very often, so it's always a pleasure to see him. Tencho, or the chief of the restaurant, is also here to greet me.
Ramen. In Japan, it's its soul food. Simple, sometimes complicated. I love ramen so much that every time I come to Japan, I eat at least 2, sometimes 3 bowls a day. It's cheap, it's accessible, but it's not fast food. It's totally... すいません、ありがとうございます。It's a culinary art on its own now, and it had its simple roots, but it's got really complicated now. Let me explain what ramen is. There are 3 basic ingredients that go into ramen. 1 is a soup that's used, 2 the base, and 3 the noodle. We are inside the kitchen with Tencho here, and I'm going to start with the soup. Of the 3 ingredients I said that makes a ramen, soup, we'll start with the soup. こちら豚骨ってしてるんですけど、豚は何キロぐらい入れてるんですか、骨は。15キロですね。So they're using about 15 kilos of pork bone. でこれずーっと煮込んでるんですか。はい。一日中。はい。And the soup's boiling the whole day while the restaurant's open. This soup is one that's passed through a sieve, and this is one that's served. If you look very carefully, it's white in color. It's very creamy and very rich in flavors. This is the noodle they use, which is a very thin noodle relatively for ramen, but it's a style from Hakata. Tonkotsu ramen had its beginnings in Hakata, and they used thin noodles for this soup. I personally prefer a little bit more thicker one, but each restaurant has its own style, and this one is this. Here you get 6 places to boil the noodle, and you can see these are orders pending, and the noodle is underneath that, and they're going to put that bowl on top just to warm it up before it goes out to the table. これ何分間ぐらいこちら茹でるんですか？40秒。40 seconds to boil it. 誰が計算してるんですか？時間は。時間はタイマー使って。And they have timers. I see 40 seconds, I see 1 minute. Also, they have different variations of the hardness of the noodle, so they have different timers for that. Now let's move to the third one, which is the soup base, and actually let's make some ramen. Okay, let's get to it. The pace in a ramen restaurant is quick, and it's buzzing with people working around us, so I'm going to make this really fast. I'm going to make shio ramen, which is a salt-based ramen where there's no soy sauce in this. So we're going to, the bowls already have the base soup stock, which is a secret at every restaurant. And Tencho is going to make a shoyu ramen, which is the base of soy sauce in it. じゃあ店長、よろしくお願いします。作りましょう。はい。ではこちらからですか。はい。両方とも私もやりますので。はい。まずこれが背脂です。油を入れます。ラードですね。はい、ラードです。私こっち分。はい、こっち分。This is oil. Pork fat, technically. So we're adding some of that. I added a little bit more extra for mine. Next, we are going to boil the noodles. I think I'm going to try the 20 second one because it's a little bit harder and I want to try how it is. じゃあ片面でお願いします。
片面で。はい。で、これ麺入れますね。
はい。
で、ここに。で、タイマー使います。で、
ここでもう2つ入ったんですか
1つです。
？2つ。
2つ入れますか。
So we have two taba of men, which is two bundles of ramen. じゃあスープ入れましょうか、私の方から。
はい。
これ使っていいんですよね。
はい。
どのぐらい入れるんですか？
線のところまで入れてもらって結構です。
Each ramen restaurant has its own recipes based on the bowl size. So this one has a handy line on the bowl, so it's easy to measure. Okay, that one has a little bit less. So it looks fast, but it's not fast food at all. Everything's ready, and all you do is put it together. Okay, 20-second noodles are done. Hey, I think I did a better job.
Right.
And after that, it's just toppings. I'm just going to do topping on my one. We have scallions. I'm going to put loads of this. I love this one. And bamboo shoot, memma, loads of that. And chashu, roast pork. It's normally 2, but I'm going to use 2.5. Ramen has to be eaten really fast when it's served because the heat of the soup overboils the noodle. So if you go with friends to a ramen restaurant and if 2 comes before the other 2, it's okay to eat it first because you don't want the noodle to get soft because you want that chewy texture of the noodle. Tommy, are you ready to eat? All right, so let's get to the table now. It's totally fine to make noises when you eat ramen. This is one way of eating ramen. You put the noodles onto the spoon. But for me, you take the right amount of noodle and you don't try to make this travel into your mouth like an escalator. You just suck it in whole. The best way to finish a ramen is actually to hold the bowl like that and finish all the soup. That's the highest compliment you could pay to a restaurant owner. Right? Arigato. I want to say something. There's a Sri Lankan connection to this restaurant. Tommy is probably the first and the only ramen restaurant that serves Ceylon tea.